A lot of architects just go, whatever, send it out, whatever the builder does, away it goes. And that's where the 80% of architectural drawings get drawn, don't get built, is because of that. And it's not managing the expectations of the client well enough to actually keep them informed about what the process is, what it's going to cost, all those budgetary concerns. Because if you've got a volume builder taste, but you want a custom design, then you're not going to be able to get what you're sort of really after. And that's where there needs to be a lot of that conversation sort of happening early. And it's a hard conversation for lots of people to sort of have.
Thinking about building or renovating? Or maybe you are already knee-deep in a project now. Are you feeling unsure of which steps to take and if you are making the right calls? You're not alone. Welcome to Builders Beyond Borders, the podcast where experienced Aussie builders share real stories, insider tips, and practical advice so you can build with confidence, avoid costly mistakes, and actually enjoy the journey. Let's dive in.
Hey there, welcome to another Builders Beyond Borders podcast. My name's Paul. I'm from Independent Building Solutions in Canberra, and with me today I've got Dean and Shannon from DJH Builders down in Tassie, and Hugh from New Realm Homes down in Melbourne. So, and today we're going to have a bit of a chat about the reasons why we believe you should get costings done before you appoint an architect, because a lot of time we find that going to an architect before you get costings done can be a very costly mistake. What we've found in the past is that architects have the great ideas and they're good to work with. They tend to get a bit carried away sometimes with the budget. So people tell them they've got a budget of X, and then the plans get drawn and the clients pay the architects, and then the plans go out to tender and all the prices come back in at 2x or 10x, and then people get very upset because they've wasted a whole lot of money on getting plans drawn. We feel that it's better to get a builder engaged at the start point as well as an architect, so that you can work as a consultant and cost the job along the way and keep the architect or the designer, whatever the case may be, keep the budget in line as you work through, so that you get to an end result where you've got a plan that matches the budget, instead of having to throw plans away and then start again and waste all that money that you've wasted. Seen it time and time again. So I'll go over to you, Dean and Shannon. What's your experience with that? I'm sure you've had quite a few experiences along those lines as well.
Yeah, we sure have. I think there was a statistic thrown around a little while ago that around about 80% of stamp plans or completed architectural building designer plans never actually go to construction stage. So when we have a prospective client contact us, we make them aware of that. Sometimes it's too late and they've already got a set of plans, and then we start looking at the costings and what the budget expectations are, and often they don't line up, because the reality is, I mean, a set of plans that are ready to go to council, people will probably drop between $10,000 and $20,000 to do them for new homes or extensions, renovations, and the like. So we really like to engage people earlier on, and we tell them when they do come to us that they've gone the right way about it, to try and figure out what their build will cost. And I don't know if you guys use it, but we use a program called ProCap, which is set up for our business, that we can enter in basic information and spit out a low, medium, and a high likelihood of costings. So that's something we offer to our clients as well, which can really work out what their budgets are like before they go and see a building designer or architect, and have an idea of what their end budget will be. So yeah.
I guess they're educated and they're not going in blind to their building designer or architect, and getting in that position where all the dreams come out and the ideas, and the next minute it's like escalated to this huge, bigger than Ben-Hur kind of plan. They can go, all right, we know that we're limited to extending the place, adding on 2 bedrooms, not 3, and an ensuite, but not this and that. And they're just providing a bit of education, and all around they're more well equipped than they could have been if they'd have gone directly to a designer or architect.
And the architects and building designers will quite often use quantity surveying as a costing, as we've seen in the last sort of 4 or 5 years, with the cost of building exponentially going up, probably 30 or 40%, something along those lines. They are probably a little bit less in touch than what the actual costings are. So it's great for an architect to draw something out roughly and go, oh yeah, that's $150,000, and they come to the builder and go, oh yeah, can you build this? And it's actually $300,000. So ProCalc's been a bit of a game changer for us with our larger extensions and renovations and the like.
Yeah, I do use ProCalc myself, and it's good because it gives a range of about 20%, I think, from high to low. So it's a good mix of where you can be, because that's usually what the PC items will vary on any job if there's bathrooms and kitchens and stuff involved. So yeah, definitely, and it's up to date. It's just an algorithm that can be updated quite simply and easily, and it's a quick, efficient way. It's not going to waste a ton of times. I mean, architects would probably even use it themselves if they wanted to, but if you come to a builder, put it through that system or some system like that at the start, before you've paid them all the money in the plans, you're going to save a lot of money in getting plans redrawn. So that's 100%. That's the way to go. Yeah. So what about you, Hugh? What sort of experience have you had along those lines, mate?
Oh, geez. I think we could all tell a good story when it comes to architects and costings and that sort of thing. But I was just sort of listening to that and just writing down a couple of things as they came to mind, just sort of listening to Dean and Shannon and yourself talk about that. The question is it's very relevant right across the board. But the couple of things that sort of really popped out to me was we see that a lot of people are they're wanting to build, but the biggest problem is that everyone's going in sort of not necessarily backwards, but they're going in uninformed. And when they're going in uninformed, just like you do with anything else, without some information beforehand, without some learning, without some schooling, without some coaching, whatever it may be, you go in and you're just faking it till you make it. And when you're faking it till you make it, there's lots of mistakes that happen along the way. And so there's the issue that I see and we all see, which is that classic thing of, oh, let's go to an architect and we'll get drawn what we want. But you can get drawn what you want, but without some very clear understanding of what costs are going to be, what flow and effects of certain design are going to be to other components of a build, or the general dynamics of a build just in general, with timelines and all that sort of thing, and permission to do certain things on a home. Obviously, if you've got the money, you're going to be able to do it. But if you don't have the money and you've got to work at a budget, and this is one of the spaces that I sort of have seen things happen where people are expecting a custom home builder and an architect to be able to do everything like a volume builder because they see it on TV. And they see all these things sort of happening where, oh, well, there's a design on TV for this type of home, a 40 square home by a volume builder. It's got all this sort of thing done. They don't realize that in the background, there's been a lot of work by an architect company or something else that's gone in to actually develop those plans so that they can be presented. And they're paying a small cost because it's spread out over hundreds and thousands of builds. So the cost is kept down in that sense. But if you're designing a home that's one-off just for you and you're going to an architect, it's going to cost you a lot of money. There's no ifs or buts about it, because the $30,000, and that's a common cost I see, especially in Melbourne, common cost, $30,000 for architectural designs. And we've had people come to us and we've redesigned it because it wasn't going to fit their budget. And we knew that right from the get-go. So $30,000 on one build compared to $30,000 on 1,000 builds, there's a big difference in the cost. And that's why the volume builders can do it for that. But I guess you could say, do we need to be coaches for homeowners? Does there need to be that little bit of information that goes out there before approaching a builder, before approaching an architect, a draftsperson, an engineer, whoever it may be that you want to engage to design a home? And then when it comes to the costings, who's the right people that you need to actually speak to about the costs? Architects and draftspeople, they can design. They're not the ones building. Although there are architects that try to administer contracts on homes. Sometimes they may have a little bit more understanding, but that's not the be all and end all, and that's not the way that everything is actually done. A lot of architects just go, whatever, send it out, whatever the builder does, away it goes. And that's where the 80% of architectural drawings get drawn, don't get built, is because of that. And it's not managing the expectations of the client well enough to actually keep them informed about what the process is, what it's going to cost, all those budgetary concerns. Because if you've got a volume builder taste, but you want a custom design, then you're not going to be able to get what you're sort of really after. And that's where there needs to be a lot of that conversation sort of happening early. And it's a hard conversation for lots of people to sort of have. And even to the point of a lot of the people that come to us, where we spend a bit of time with them early on, going through some of those design issues and possibility that, hey, you might spend some money and you might not be able to get what you want. Do you want to spend $500 on a preliminary estimate now, based off of just your ideas, and like you guys, using a system like ProCalc, which is relatively inexpensive, but it gives us all the ability to actually reliably get a probable cost for something that we can draw up on a piece of paper and go, square box, 35 square meters. It's an extension on the back of a home, or it's a new home, whatever it might be. And we can just go, it's just a square box, pitched roof, that's it, nothing else going on in there. We punch all that in and we get a probable cost of $300,000, say, hypothetically. Does that meet your budget? If it does, then we can start looking at other things.
Yeah.
People can come also if they've gone backwards, getting their plans drawn up beforehand, and be very protective of the plans, because they've spent so much money. They don't want to hear us saying, you're not going to be able to build that because it's not in your budget. And that's really devastating for a prospect, isn't it? Because they're like, whoa. Just to have that education out there, to come to go to a builder first to get a real idea of what you can fit for your budget.
And then if, say, they don't go with one of us and they go to the next builder and he just throws a number at it and goes, I can do it for how much? $2,500 a square. I can't believe that other builder said he was going to do it for that. And then we go down a whole nother rabbit hole of projects not getting completed. So, education is key.
Yeah, well, you do sort of need a bit of a design or something to price at the start, don't you? But you just need to start with the basics. Say we need a basic draft plan first, something we can do a cost on before you go spending too much time on money. And if people just understood that before they go and spend thousands of dollars getting plans all drawn and finalised, it's sort of too late then, isn't it? So, because especially custom build stuff. I mean, the stuff you're talking about with the project homes, like it's just mass produced, isn't it? But there's also a lot of costs that aren't included. What they'll say, we can build this house for X, but they haven't seen the site. So in the clause, it'll have clauses in their allowances saying that all the things that aren't included, which will be in the fine print, that when they go out and inspect your site, then have to be added on, which starts to push the price back up. There's a lot of things like that. So, that's where, that's where architects can be good too, because they can pull the builder up on that sort of stuff when he's trying to do the wrong thing by people. So it's where it's best when we can work together with the architect right from the start to get the design right and the price right, so that but the two things both align with each other, and then everybody's happy and the clients are getting what they want, or getting what they can, as much as they can afford for their budget, rather than, and then instead of wasting $10,000-$20,000 on plans, those $10,000-$20,000 there they can spend on their house, so they're getting a bonus there as well, because they haven't wasted any money at all.
Well, at the end of the day, it's just value, isn't it? That's working with both of them, you're going to get the best value.
Yeah, 100%. That's right. Yeah. Yeah. No, we've got.
How many times have we seen people come to us and they've got no idea when it comes to budget? No idea. When it comes to anything in building, we know what's going to cost. So we without knowing what your budget is actually going to be, if you're going in there blind we just want an idea, that's the scariest kind of client for me. Or prospective client, the lead or anything that comes in is, we just have no idea. And to me, that's scary.
Yeah, and it's hard to work square metre rates too with architectural stuff or custom build stuff, because they're all different. Like people will go along and say, we can build for 2,500 square metre or 4,500 square metre or whatever, but every job's different. So that could still be hugely way out. And I think that's where a lot of architects come come unstuck with their budgets. People come to them and say, we want to spend 200,000 and they work on a square metre rate of that, but their design is, got all these fancy architectural features which look fantastic. It costs twice as much, and the design costs, 4,000 instead of 2, and then the budget's blown out. So that's that brings it back to where we started. They need to work together right from the beginning, don't we?
Yeah.
When you say budget as well, Hugh, like if you bring lenders and banks in on the equation as well, like the bank's like, yeah, we'll lend you 600,000 to do this, but then it's like that's completely, and you can afford repayments on that amount, completely overcapitalising the property, and then the valuators come through and go, no, you can't spend that much money on this property. So that doesn't align either. The bank's just trying to get their contracts signed. The architects, getting paid for what they do, and then it's just a vicious, really dangerous situation for people to find themselves in, which we see all the time.
Definitely. And ultimately that always goes back to that value proposition that gets put, whether it's the value of your money that you can afford to pay, the value of your property, the value of the improvement to the property, whether it is an improvement as well, and whether it is going to be overcapitalizing you based on a valuation done by a lending company or anything like that. But of course, if you're self-funded, you can do whatever you like. Yeah, it just makes it very challenging on which part do you actually do. Is it sometimes better to do a feasibility before even looking at anything?
Yeah, you need a starting point, don't you? Because otherwise it's just never going to end well. There's always got to be some sort of a base point where you can start from, say that, we're in line with where we want to be with the design and the budget, or no, we're not right at the start, rather than when the plans are finished and it's too late because you've spent all that money.
Yeah, that's cracker.
Okay, guys, well, probably all we've got for now. So thanks for coming, and we'll see you on the next one.
Thanks for tuning in to Builders Beyond Borders. If today's episode helped you feel more prepared, clearer, or more confident, share it with a mate who's planning their own build or reno. Got a question about building, renovating, or working with tradies? Send it our way. We might cover it in a future episode. And don't forget to hit follow or subscribe so you never miss the real stories, practical tips, and builder insights we've got coming your way. Everything shared on this podcast is based on our experiences and those of our guests. It's general info only. Any reliance on the information provided is done at your own risk.